studying in Achievers International Public School, Sathanuru, India. Now, I am here to tell you about the force and the pressure. Firstly, let us know what is force. A force is a physical quantity that changes its state of rest into state of motion or state of motion into state of rest of an object. Its SI unit is Newton. For example, I am applying a force on this object. It changes its state of rest into state of motion. There are two types of forces, balanced force and unbalanced force. Firstly, balanced force. Equal amount of force is applied on an object in the opposite direction is known as the balanced force. The net force will always be equals to 0, then the object will retain the state of rest. Then unbalanced force. Unequal amount of force is applied on an object in the opposite direction either in the same direction. It is known as the unbalanced force. The net force will never be equals to 0. The object could be brought into the motion. Effects of forces. There are 6 effects of forces. Firstly, the first effect of force is changing state of rest into state of motion. For example, kicking a football or pushing a toy car, etc. Then, changing state of motion into state of rest. For example, a goalkeeper in a football match stops the motion of the ball in a football match. Next, change in shape of an object. For example, squeezing a lemon is an example of changing shape of an object. Here, I have a lemon and I am going to squeeze it. You can see that it changed its shape. Then, I am applying a force on the sponge. You can see that it changed its shape. This is also an example for changing shape of an object. Then, changing direction of an object. Batsman hitting a ball and the cricket man changes the direction of an object, that is the ball. Displacement of an object. For example, displacing a spectacle from one table to another table is an example for displacing of an object. Then, last effect is changing speed of an object. For example, a bicycle increases its speed when the rider pedals harder. Then, coming to the next topic, it is the kinds of forces. There are 2 kinds of forces, contact force and non-contact force. Firstly, contact force. There are 2 types in contact force, muscular force and frictional force. Muscular force is nothing but the force that exists due to the action of the muscles. For example, lifting a bag or lifting a sponge, etc. Then frictional force. Frictional force is nothing but that opposes the motion of an object. For example, a rolling ball on the ground stops due to the friction of an friction force. Then a sliding book in the table stops due to the friction. Here I have a knife and I am going to apply a force. You can see that it stops its motion due to the friction. Then non-contact force. There are 3 types of non-contact force: gravitational force, magnetic force, then electrostatic force. Firstly, gravitational force. The force of attraction between any 2 objects is called gravitational force. For example, an orange falls towards the ground from a tree due to the gravitational force exerted by the earth. For example, here I have a sponge in my hand and I am going to leave it. You can observe once again. Here I have a sponge in my hand and I am going to leave it. Here it falls towards the ground. This is due to the gravitational force exerted by the earth. Coming to the next effect, that is the magnetic effect. It is nothing but the force of attraction or the repulsion between any 2 magnets or the magnet and the magnetic material. This is known as the magnetic force. For example, unlike poles of 2 magnets attract with each other due to the magnetic force. Then coming to the next force, that is electrostatic force. Electrostatic force is nothing but the force of attraction between the charged body and uncharged body. For example, the bits of papers attract towards the charged plastic scale or the charged balloon. This is an example for electrostatic force. Coming to the last topic, it is pressure. What is pressure? It is force applying on an object per unit area is known as pressure. The SI unit for pressure is Pascal or Newton per meter square. If an area of contact is less, then the pressure is high. If an area of contact is high, then the pressure is less. Then it is easier to cut an apple with the help of the sharp edge of a knife rather than the blunt edge of a knife. For example, here I have a tomato fruit in my hand, and now let me try to cut it with the help of a blunt edge of a knife. It's a bit difficult to cut with a blunt edge of a knife. Now let me try to cut it with the help of the sharp edge of a knife. It's easier to cut with the help of the sharp edge of a knife. Okay. Next, flares like water and the gases also exerts the pressure. This is known as the flare pressure. Atmospheric air also exerts the pressure. It's known as atmospheric pressure. It is higher in the magnitudes. I hope you all have understand about the force and the pressure. Thank you for your precious time. Wishing you a peaceful day ahead.